Hey guys, Tyler from Righteous Gaming here. Thanks for taking time to watch the video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Our next goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. So today, we are going to be talking about Flesh and Blood's Living Legend system. So why are we talking about this today? Well, in the most recent dev talk put out by James and Brian, they talked about how they wanted to make changes to the Living Legend format. And so I thought with this video, I would offer my advice and opinions, some things I see in the format, and offer a solution to how we can move forward with the Living Legend system. This topic has gotten a lot of news and online discussion recently because one of the decks that just hit Living Legend status, Aurora, reached that status within a year of her being eligible to be played. So we didn't have very long to play this hero, and she was only around for a few months. And so people who bought her cards now aren't able to play her currently. And so there's a lot of things and a lot of talk going on about this topic. And so first I wanted to talk about what is the LL policy. Also, forgive me if I look at my computer a lot during this video. I have a lot to say about the topic and I wrote down a lot of notes. So the LL policy is that once a hero gets to 1,000 Living Legend points, they are retired. They move to the Living Legend system, and so they're no longer eligible to be played in the Classic Constructed format. And so right now we have 12 heroes that have LL'd, most recently being Aurora. Also Enigma and Zen and Viscerai have reached Living Legend status recently as well. And so they give out different points per event. So the tier 2 and up events, Battle Hardens, Callings, Pro Tours, Worlds, these points are given out to the winners of these events. And then also during competitive seasons, they give out 1,500 points collectively, split up evenly amongst all of the heroes that have won those events in a season. And so Road to National season and ProQuest season both have 1,500 points that are divided up amongst all the heroes that win. And the Living Legend format is also seeing more support from LSS. They're running more Living Legend tournaments. They actually ran their first Living Legend calling last year. We're seeing it at a lot of Battle Hardens. And so this format is getting more support over time as more heroes start to reach Living Legend status because they want players to be able to play with the cards and the heroes that have rotated out so that they are able to enjoy these heroes again. So why is the Living Legend format important? We're going to talk about the pros of the Living Legend format. First, it helps keep the format fresh. It allows for heroes to be rotated in and out at hopefully an acceptable pace. The Living Legend format is when all heroes are eligible to be played. And if that were true in Classic Constructed, then the format could get stale pretty easily. The top decks will always be the top decks. And there's not enough freshness in the format to keep some players interested. Players may lose interest in the game. However, when heroes are rotated out, it makes room for new heroes to be good, to be at the top of the format. It allows for older heroes to see some more play again, and allows people who don't have any interest in playing the top decks to maybe have their hero be competitive again. It helps keep a check on the power level of the format, because if the hero is too good, then they may reach Living Legend status faster than heroes that aren't as good. How fast is too fast? We'll talk about that later, but it does allow a check, partly a check on the power level of a format. It also limits the amount of heroes in the format. Right now, there are 33 heroes that are in the Classic Constructed, we're getting 3 more within a month, so 36 heroes. And so if heroes didn't rotate out, we'd be at 48, which is getting to be a lot of heroes. And so having heroes retire and rotate out helps keep the number of heroes down, which is actually beneficial for competitive play, because it limits the amount of sideboarding choices that you need. If you have to sideboard for 50 heroes, even though not all of them are going to be playable, having to do that is going to be a lot of work, a lot of thinking, and there's just not enough room in the sideboard to prepare for all the matchups then. It also helps with the new player onboarding experience, that new players don't have to learn as many heroes when they enter the game, because when you play the game, there are a lot of heroes. There's 36 heroes now, and they all do different things. And so as a new player, it can be overwhelming to learn how your deck plays against 36 different heroes. And there's just a lot of learning curve that is introduced with the game. And so right now, I'd say we're pushing the limit on the amount of heroes that are eligible. But the Living Legend format allows LSS to monitor how wide the game is going, for the amount of heroes that are eligible to be played at a current time. It also helps LSS sell new products, because the newer products, the heroes are still in the format, and usually they are decent heroes that they release. And so LSS is a company; they need to make money to support the game, to give out money to for tournaments as prizes to help keep the game going. And so the Living Legend format allows them to sell newer product over the older product, because the older heroes rotate out. The boxes have on those, for the sets of those heroes, aren't as interesting to players, and so they're more attuned to buy the newer products, which is exactly what they need in order to stay alive as a company. And so, but the Living Legend format, or the system, is not without its flaws. There's also a lot of cons and challenges to the system as it currently is. So first, some heroes can reach Living Legend status too fast. We saw this with Aurora, who reached Living Legend within 7 or 8 months. Bravo, star of the show, hit Living Legend within 3 or 4 months. And then Zin and Enigma have also reached within a year. And so this current format allows heroes to reach within a year, and that's definitely not ideal. We should have at least a year to have the heroes available to be played. Secondly, some heroes never LL, but can also create problems in the format. So the primary example I have of this is Kano. We've all been killed in one turn by Kano, and so there's a hero that shows up sometimes, doesn't show up others. There's not a large amount of players that play the hero, but he's still always playable. And so heroes like this need to rotate out, so that newer players don't have the bad player experience when they get one-shotted by this hero, but so that the format can remain fresh and alive amongst decks that check the skill level of a player. It could also lead to too many heroes if not enough points are given out. Like I said, right now we have 36 heroes that are going to be in the format starting next month. And the Living Legend format right now, heroes aren't reaching Living Legend fast enough, so the format keeps growing. And so if done wrong, not wrong, if it is done without changes, then there's just going to be more and more heroes over time being added to the format. Also, some people can only afford 1 or 2 decks. They may have a love of a hero. They may be a specialist. And the more decks that we have in the format, the more likely it is that their hero either is just really bad or gets Living Legend too fast. And so having more parameters on the format allows players who can only afford 1 or 2 decks to be able to play with a more competitive deck and for longer as well. So this brings us to the question: are heroes reaching Living Legend status too fast or too slow? In my opinion, it's both, which is cause for some concern amongst the format, which LSS recognizes, which is why they are wanting to help change up the format. And so, are they reaching Living Legend too fast? Sometimes. So Aurora, too fast. 7 to 8 months is too fast. Zin Enigma within a year, too fast. Starvo within 3 or 4 months, well, he was just a problem hero, so it's good that he was gone. But having the option and the possibility that heroes can retire within a year is not great, in my opinion. However, some heroes are also reaching Living Legend status too slow. None of the Welcome to Wraith heroes have reached Living Legend status, and a lot of the older heroes haven't reached this status yet, and some of them aren't even close. Some of them will be around for a long time. And so how long is it okay for a hero to be played in Classic Constructed. Right now, there's about to be too many heroes in the format, in my opinion. 36 heroes, that's a lot. I think it's still manageable. 30 to 40, I think, is a sweet spot for number of heroes in the format. But not enough heroes are reaching Living Legend status. In 2024, only one hero reached the status, and that was Dromai. However, in the same year, we had 17 heroes introduced since beginning of 2024. We've had 17 heroes introduced, and Dromai, then plus 4 this year. Viscerai, Enigma, Zin, and Aurora have reached Living Legend status. So that's 5 heroes that have retired compared to 17 heroes that have been introduced. So that's a plus 12 multiplier. This year we're at 6 introduced to 4 being retired, which is better, but we got 3 new ones coming up. And so if every year we're gaining 12 new heroes to the system, well, right now we're at 36. So next year we'll be at 48. Next year we'll be at 60. So then 2 years we could reach 60 plus heroes in the format. This is going to cause heroes to living, it snowballs. It creates more heroes to divide Living Legend points up amongst, and leads to just more heroes in the format at all. And eventually you just get to have too many heroes in the format. It's just too much for competitive plays, too much for newer players, and creates a system where there's just too many obscure decks out there. And so it's not sustainable what we currently have. And I think that LSS is slowly starting to realize that. Also, we only have one more competitive season this year, one more ProQuest season. It's only May, but we've already had a Road to National season and a ProQuest season. And so we only have one more competitive season, so there's not going to be as many LL points given out throughout the rest of the year as there have been already given out this year. And so with 3 new heroes introduced this set, 3 to 4 or 5 introduced in September, and then maybe 1 or 2 new heroes introduced through Armory decks, it's going to start to crowd the format. It's going to start to crowd the format and create some of the problems that I have mentioned before. And so if we have too many heroes, it hurts new players, hurts the competitive experience, and it can also create redundancy among heroes, having heroes of the same class doing similar things. So what does a healthy CC format, standard format, look like for Flesh and Blood? I've already touched about it a bit, but 30 to 40 heroes I think is about what is acceptable, which is about where we're at right now. And having new heroes around for at least 1 to 2 years is very important so that people can buy the new products with confidence that their heroes are going to stay around for a decent amount of time so that they can get good use out of the cards that they buy. It also helps to not have redundant heroes and no busted S tier heroes as well. If the format can be one that has 3 to 7 tier 1 heroes that are all able to be won with on a high level, I think that's very healthy. And so there needs to be a system that manages all these needs that the format needs. And so right now we're close, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And so how can the policy be changed to create a healthy format and play experience for everyone? So this is my solution. This is my proposal. I think there's 4 things that they can do with the system that can greatly increase the enjoyment of the game of Classic Constructed for players. So first is to create an intro period for heroes before they start accruing LL points. My suggestion is a year. And so heroes will have 1 year of being CC eligible before they even start to accrue points. So they'll be at 0 for a whole year, and then once that year hits, then they'll start accruing the points. This allows the newer heroes to stay around for a longer time. It ensures that they don't rotate out within a year. It also allows people to be able to find the decks, find what's good in those decks as well, and gives us sufficient time to play them. Secondly, you get 1,500 points for a competitive season, a ProQuest season, Road to Nationals seasons. And so I think that these 1,500 points should be split up amongst all the heroes that win these events that are eligible. And so heroes that have been out less than a year that win a Pro Quest or Road to Nationals, they just get 0 LL points. But at the end of the season, you see how many heroes won these events, and then you divide up the 1,500 points based on the heroes for those weekends. And you can also prorate it each week too. I mean, if you have 4 weeks, that's 375 points a week. So divide 375 points amongst all the heroes that have won that week, or based on the percentage of weekly events compared to the season that is that week, whatever that number is. But divide up the points only amongst the heroes that are eligible to receive Living Legend points. And the same thing with major events as well. If a new hero wins a calling or a nationals or a pro tour, I don't think that hero should get Living Legend points yet. I think that the Living Legend points for that event should be divided up amongst all of the eligible heroes that are in the top 8. So this ensures that most likely an older hero is going to get some LL points for these events. Even though some of these older heroes aren't winning the events, they're still getting points because they're in the top of the meta. They're in the top 8. And so an example is if we had 4 Auroras in the top 8 of a calling, and we had 2 Enigmas and then 2 Prisms, similar to the Pro Tour London, only the 2 Prisms would have got the LL points. Even though Prism didn't win, they were still in the top 8, and they would have a share of the points for that tournament. And so this allows the older heroes to accrue points faster, because right now the older heroes are only really accruing points during the Road to Nationals and Pro Quest seasons because they're not winning major events, but they're always around. And so changing the way they distribute the points on these bigger events to only heroes that have been around for at least a year, and then expand it to the top 8, then I think that allows older heroes to accrue points a little faster. And if there aren't any eligible heroes in the top 8, what would I say? Then you can maybe pass it down to the next eligible hero on the ranking sheet, or just that event doesn't give out any points, LL points for that event. And so I think that can be a judgment call based on what happens in that instance and what the format is looking like. And also, the change that I'm most on the edge about is to create a cutoff system for heroes to guarantee they hit LL over an X period of time. So like 5 years, if a hero has not reached Living Legend status within 5 years, then they just instant LL. I'm not sure about this one because it causes bad heroes to LL and people who like those decks to just like all of a sudden not be able to play those heroes anymore, even though they're not threatening the format. But I think long term, the longer hero is in a format, the more harder to get those single cards are, and so it may be harder to build those decks for players. I don't know. I just think that's an idea that I've seen passed around amongst people, as well as create a hard cutoff date that heroes are forced to rotate. And so I like this system. I like my system. It allows heroes to stay eligible for at least a year, hopefully at least 2 years, because they don't start accruing points until they hit year 2, and so then they still have to reach 1,000 points after that. It creates older heroes to start LLing faster, because what we're seeing right now is that newer heroes are LLing at a faster pace than older heroes are. And so, I mean, this year we've had 4 heroes hit Living Legend status. Only 3 of them have been around for less than a year, and the other one was Viserai, and he's been around for 4 or 5 years. And so it allows the LL points to go to the older heroes to start pushing them out of the format so that it can make way for the newer heroes to come in. Because if the newer heroes are leaving to make way for newer heroes, then we're just going to have the same X amount of older heroes in the format the whole time. We need to find a way to get those heroes to reach Living Legend status. And so this format puts points on heroes that aren't winning events, top events, but are still doing well in the format. And secondly, the goal is to have the same amount of heroes Living Legend as there are heroes that are being introduced each year. And so that means over the past year and a half, we've had 17 heroes come into the format. In the future, we should have 17 heroes leave the format. And so this is just now becoming a problem. So we are at 36 heroes. If we had the 4 that just LL that have been 40. 30 to 40 I think is a great number, so I think this is a great time to start this policy. You know, in the past it wouldn't have been a good time because we had under 30 heroes in the format, but since I think we're starting to hit an apex of what is acceptable number of heroes in the format, I think this is a great time to ensure that if we introduce, let's see, we had 3 heroes for Hunted, 3 heroes for High Seas, let's just say 4 heroes for September, that's 10, plus 2 Armory decks, say 12 new heroes this year. Our goal should be that 12 heroes rotate out so that the format sticks between this 30 to 40 hero range, and so that we don't get up to 50, 60, even 70 heroes in the future. And so this system allows for more heroes to be to reach this living legend status as well, while maintaining the ability for the newer heroes to be played for at least a year. And so, and how do we? So there's also this. My suggested change begs the question of how do we balance the format then? If a broken deck like Aurora, top deck in the format, is around for over a year, then it's going to be over a year of an oppressive deck. But I think that LSS can solve for this issue by having more proactive bans. Cards they know are going to be a problem in the future, they can ban those cards in advance so that these decks aren't as oppressive in the future. They can also have more reactive bans, so reacting to when a hero does better than they thought, which is fine, but banning, being more liberal in their ban and suspension givings. And so I see bans and suspensions as a helpful tool. I don't see it as LSS admitting a mistake. I don't see it as an issue. I see it as a helpful tool for LSS to be able to balance the format. And so if heroes are going to be guaranteed to stay around for at least 1 to 2 years under a system like this, I think that instituting the use of bans and suspensions more liberally is going to be a good thing and a good way to manage the format. And so let me know what you think about the system that I'm proposing. What ideas do you have to help fix and change the Living Legend system? Do you think heroes are LLing too fast, too slow, just right? And finally, how many heroes do you think is enough for a Classic Constructed? Are we ever gonna get to a point where there could be enough? Are there too much now? And so I wanna hear about all this from you guys, because I'm interested in this topic. I'm interested in how to keep the format fresh and alive for all players. So a couple channel and store updates. We will be in Taiwan next weekend for the world premiere. If you need anything from the event, let me know. I'll have things for sale at US Nats in Vegas, and so we will be in Vegas too at US Nats. We're not doing any pre-orders for High C singles, but we should have a decent stock of singles available starting Thursday night at 5 p.m. In Vegas. And so if you need anything, please stop by the booth. Let me know. We'll be buying, selling, doing trade-ins all weekend. And finally, I'll be on vacation this week. I'm heading to Taiwan next week, so wife and I are going to be taking a vacation this week, so we'll be out of the office, so we'll be unable to send out any cards this week. But if you need anything, let me know, and I can get back to you at the end of the week when we get back. And finally, TCG Player is having a sale this weekend. You get 10%, at least 10% cash back on all your purchases, and so make sure to check out my TCG Player store on Friday. We'll have updated pricing, updated stock on TCG Player. Make sure to take advantage of that sale. This will be your time to get cards that you've been needing from past sets before High Seas comes out, because you'll get a 10% credit on all your purchases, and it'll allow you can use that credit for then when High Seas comes out to buy some of the singles that you need. And so again, I thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and I just appreciate all the support from you guys over the past couple years that I've been doing Flesh and Blood. Don't forget to join our Discord. Link is in the description, as well as register for Finals Collection. I have my promo code for 1 month free on Finals Collection, so that you can track the value of your collection over time. That'll also be in the comments. But thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy High Seas, and we'll see you in the next video.